Welcome back to Soulsborne News, the most trusted source for all things Souls and Soulslike. I'm MTK. Let's get to it. Like me. In our first story today, we have some interesting news on the First Berserker Khazan. In a trailer at Gamescom, it was revealed that they will be doing a technical closed beta that you can go and sign up for on their website, which I will leave a link in the description so that you can do so. Now, Gamescom was a little while ago, but the beta sign up is still open now, but it is about to close, which is why I wanted to cover it now. So here's the details on how you would go about signing up. The beta starts on October 11th and ends on October 20th. On PlayStation, this is how you would do it. You visit the website, you have to register with your email, and then if you're selected, you will be sent an email with the game code at the start of the beta. On Xbox, however, you have to sign up on a first come, first served basis on the Xbox Insider app at the start of the test. So basically, at the start of the test, you have to get into that app and try and sign up before everybody else does. We'll see how many people try to do that. But an important note about Xbox is that Xbox Series S is not supported. So keep that in mind. If you're playing on that console, you will not be eligible for this beta. Now, I'm currently signed up. I'm hoping to get in because I'd like to try and get a preview of the game. I'm super excited for this one. It looks really interesting. I covered this game in a previous episode of Soulsborne News, and we talked about the difficulty of the game and how some early reviewers and previewers are reporting that the game is very, very difficult, and it could be one of the hardest Souls-likes that have ever been made. So we'll have to wait and see about that, but fingers crossed I get in, and we'll see what happens. Some big news about Lords of the Fallen has just dropped. Back in 2023, Hexworks laid out a content roadmap for Lords of the Fallen that we've pretty much reached the end of, which has led to CI Games, which is the publisher of Lords of the Fallen, to recently announce that Lords of the Fallen 2 has officially gone into full development. Now, the release date is fairly far off, being in 2026, but we did get some interesting insights into the game and where they want to take it. In an article over on Insider Gaming, we learned several key things. The first thing is that there seems to be a big push to make this game more mainstream, to appeal to a wider fan base, especially when it comes to visuals. They didn't talk about this point much when it came to combat, but they did emphasize the visuals. It seems like they're wanting to give it more of a Ghost of Tsushima feel or Black Myth Wukong feel. It is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and an official reveal is planned for next year. Now keep in mind these are internal goals only, so things could rapidly change throughout the development process. But the reveal should be followed by a strong marketing campaign, and the game is going to have a larger budget than the first one, which I would assume a good chunk of that is going to advertisement. They also said that it will have full shared progression in co-op, which is a pretty awesome feature. Now, one of the more interesting things is that this will be an Epic Games exclusive on PC, which means it will not be on Steam, at least at launch. Now, there will still be a PlayStation version and an Xbox version, assuming that Xbox is still around in 2026. Don't kill me, Xbox fans. But as far as Steam goes, according to this article at least, it doesn't look like we're going to get it on Steam, at least for the beginning period of the game. Maybe later on down the line it'll migrate onto there, but that's just speculation at this point. Now, the thing that I'm kind of on the fence about is the fact that they did say that they're planning on adding in more game modes or difficulty modes. And so this is tough for me because the Souls side of me wants to say that there should only be one difficulty and that grinding and spilling blood, sweat, and tears onto your controller is part of the Souls-like experience. And if you can't handle it, then you should go play another genre. But the more logical side of me knows that studios need to make money, and to do that, they need their Souls-like games to sell. And whether you like it or not, having multiple difficulty options sells games better. So, although my heart says that this is a bad thing and I want to be upset about it, the truth and the more logical side of me says that this is probably a good thing for the genre, and honestly, more Souls-like games should probably do this as well. But it's a long way out, a lot could change. I just hope that they don't alienate their fan base too much in their quest for mass appeal. Another interesting thing that came out of that same article is some news on the Tales of Iron series. Now, we've known for quite a while now that Tales of Iron 2 is coming and is in development as we speak. However, now we have confirmation from United Label, which is Tales of Iron's publisher, and CI Games, that they have a confirmed contract for a third Tales of Iron game. Now, it's obviously not in development yet, since they're still working on the second game, but it looks like, at least at this point, it will be a trilogy. Now, I wasn't aware that this game was so well received by the Souls community. Most of the reviews are almost all positive, and it seems like it's a solid series. So it's one that I'm probably going to have to add to my backlog if it wasn't already big enough. But regardless, I thought this was some pretty interesting news for all you Tales of Iron fans out there, and I'm probably going to jump into it soon and give the series a try. With the recent announcement of the PS5 Pro and all the drama surrounding it, there's a growing list of games that will be getting enhancements in visuals and or frame rate. And there are a couple names on that list that will be very familiar to all my Souls fanatics out there. And I'll post a link to this Reddit post so that you can go look at the complete list of games for yourself, because there are a lot of games on this list that aren't Souls-like games that you might be interested in. But as of right now, the current Souls-like games that have been confirmed to be getting PS5 Pro enhancements are Demon Souls, Jedi Survivor, Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, and Lies of P. Now, there is one very important name missing from that list, and that is, of course, Elden Ring. And we've yet to hear anything on a patch for Elden Ring. But if I was a betting man, I would say that we more than likely will be getting one between now and the end of the year anyway. And this is mainly because of its popularity and the fact that FromSoft has done this in the past with Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 got a PS4 Pro patch that boosted its frame rate. So I would assume with a game that is as popular as Elden Ring that they probably will do the same thing here. Which brings me to an interesting question. If you're on the fence about a PS5 Pro and an Elden Ring patch was announced, would that be enough to push you over the edge and make you commit to that price tag? For me personally, probably not. It's a lot of money and I'll probably just skip it and wait till the PS6. But regardless, I think that there is hope for an Elden Ring patch for everybody who's gonna get a PS5 Pro anyway. And we'll just have to wait and see. I'll keep my ears and eyes out and let you guys know if one is in fact announced. The Game of the Year discussion has begun to ramp up as we approach the end of the year. And amidst all this discourse, there has been some drama that has broken out between IGN and my pick for Game of the Year, Black Myth Wukong. Now, to better understand this, we're going to have to unpack some past events to kind of give some context. So buckle in, it's going to take me a minute to unpack all this. And this has been covered in depth in other places, so I'm going to do my best just to give you a brief overview of what has happened and what's going on in this story. Way back on November 20th, 2023, IGN posted an article accusing the developers of Black Myth Wukong of employing devs that have made derogatory remarks about women, the most notable of which being the founders themselves. The author of this article later doubled down on these claims in a statement released on IGN. So the backdrop for all of this is that Black Myth Wukong and IGN have already had somewhat of a mixed relationship. Now, if you fast forward to earlier this week, Black Myth Wukong had the #1 spot in the IGN face-offs for Game of the Year with a little over 90% win rate. Then, mysteriously, in the middle of the night, around like 5 a.m. or something, over the span of about an hour, it fell to around 74%, landing it outside of the top 5. Now, this led to backlash and accusations of cooking the books because of political bias. And this backlash prompted IGN to respond with the explanation that due to how the voting is done, they cannot accurately identify fraudulent votes. So they have to essentially guess based on what their engineers deemed most probable, and then those votes they delete, which they admit does result in some valid votes being deleted. Now, it is worth noting that there is a ton of positive content on IGN related to Black Myth Wukong, and it has currently, at least at the time of this recording, climbed back into the top spot for their Game of the Year. But this is definitely not a good look for IGN, especially since their game reviews have recently come under fire for essentially being out of touch with what gamers really want and really like in video games. And this could get even more interesting if Black Myth Wukong does in fact end up losing Game of the Year on IGN's website. That will surely create even more drama. So get your popcorn ready. Unless you've been hiding under a rock or just have better things to do than follow gaming news, you probably know that the gaming landscape and industry have been very unstable over the past several years. It seems like every time we turn around, a studio is closing or having to lay off employees. But in the midst of all this chaos, there is a shining beacon of hope, and that is none other than the father of souls, Fromsoftware. In a post on their official X account, they said this: "As part of our efforts to create a rewarding working environment, Fromsoftware will be raising base salaries and starting salaries for new graduates. We will continue to work on game development to provide our users with even more excitement and valuable games." So not only is this just really awesome, it's also a testament to their business management. While everybody else is having to lay people off or shut down completely, Fromsoftware has not only not gone through layoffs, they're actually raising some of their base salaries. That's some GOAT status stuff right there. And this is something I feel like people don't talk about enough when it comes to Fromsoftware, is their business skills and their ability to create stable careers for game developers, which I believe is probably what contributes a ton to how good their games are, because they're able to retain really talented developers because of their work environment and the way they are committed to their employees. So I think this is a really cool story, and regardless of what you think about their games, you can't deny that this is at the very least a noble thing. Patch number 1.0005 for Enotria the Last Song has gone live as of October 3rd. And along with a bunch of balance changes, bug fixes, boss nerfs, things of that nature, especially Sick, they took away some of the damage. Sick does less damage now over time, and Wicked heals you less are the two things that at least affected me the most. And especially with the Wicked thing, I think that this is probably a good thing, because the main greatsword that I used had the Wicked status effect, and I would go through areas and hardly have to heal at all because the Wicked status effect would just be giving me health almost every hit. So that's probably a good balance change. But the biggest change that they made is that they added a story mode difficulty that you can now toggle between what they call Soulslike mode and story mode. Now, story mode, you're basically going to body everything in front of you. You will just plow through the game, and it's literally just you want to experience the story and you're not really interested in much of a challenge at all. However, the Souls-like mode is almost identical in difficulty to the base game before the patch. So if you're a Souls game lover and you really love the challenge, you're going to want to go with the Souls-like difficulty. And beware, when you boot the game up after the patch is installed, you will automatically be put into story mode. I made this mistake, and as soon as I started playing after the patch was installed, I was bodying everything and panicking a little because I thought they went way overboard on the balance changes, only to find out that I was in story mode. And as soon as I switched it over to Souls-like mode, everything got better and the challenge came back and I had a great time. And a side note, my review for Enotria will be coming out hopefully this coming week, so you can catch that here on my channel. But regardless, if you had a hard time with Enotria, you might want to jump back in, put it in story mode, and see where you can go. It is time for today's Indie Spotlight, and today we are taking a look at Fade. Fade is a classic third-person action RPG. Travel to the land of Baltaine and stop a twisted cult from finishing an ancient and twisted ritual. Face powerful bosses, collect loot, and fight horrific beings. Now, Fade is a solo dev developed game, and it's actually been in early access on Steam for about 3 years now. And what happened was the developer hit some significant setbacks on the original build of the game and had to basically start over from scratch earlier this year. But it does seem like he's got it back to working order again. There's a demo up on Steam that you can go play. I encourage you to do so. I've jumped in and played it, and it seems pretty fun. Honestly, I think that there is a lot of potential here, and it could end up being a really good quality game. Now, according to the developer, the next step is to launch a Kickstarter campaign in the coming months that will hopefully fund the remainder of the development for this game. So I will encourage you guys to add this to your wish list, keep up to date with what's going on, and once the Kickstarter is launched, consider contributing to the development. Those are all the stories that we have for today. Be sure to like the video if you did in fact enjoy it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to check the description for links to everything that we went over today, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.